Today is exciting because we're going to be talking about my top 5 favorite spirits in Spirit Island, the greatest board game of all time. Now, this is down to the aspect modification of the spirit. So if there is an aspect spirit combo that made it to this top 5, I will call out the specific aspect that pushed the spirit into this list. And if you're new to the game, aspects are just like slight modifications to like a base spirit that change up some of the powers, make them like more or less complex, boost or nerf them. Honestly, it's just an awesome way to modify spirits and add a ton of replayability to the game. But we'll talk about that if, spoiler alert, when that does come up. So let's dive into number 5, which is the ultimate late game spirit, Serpent slumbering beneath the island. Serpent has some really interesting mechanics and kind of revolves around consuming other spirits' presence and hoping that they can hold off the invaders long enough for you to basically destroy the whole island at the end of the game. Serpent is limited to having a number of presence on the island, which can be expanded by playing the Absorb Energy power card and actually like eating other spirits' presence. So you are removing a presence from the board, which can be a huge detriment, but it is offset just a little bit by the benefits that Serpent can pass out with the Serpent Wakes in power innate power. This allows you to like gain energy, add presence to the board, which is incredibly powerful, especially for Serpent, because Serpent wants to add presence to the board because you can get up to some incredible number of card plays and energy, but it's going to take you a while to get there. And then also gain major powers. This also can be applied. This benefit can be passed out to spirits who you have absorbed their presence based on the amount of presence that you have absorbed. So if you have like 2 presence, they can also start to place presence out on the board whenever you activate this innate power, which is so much fun. I love playing supporting games, and this is just a way that you can do that. And if you pair this with another spirit that can go, maybe take a little bit more time to get their presence onto the board, but then have like other strengths that offset that slow build. If you can set it up so that you can have both of these on the table and accelerate that growth, oh, it's so satisfying. You just have to like make sure you don't lose before that, which can be an issue. You want to pair Serpent with someone who can control early game. But that's not even the main reason why the spirit's in my top 5. And it mainly is here because of their innate power. Serpent rouses in anger, which at the top end of this innate power deals damage in every single land in the game based on how much presence you have in and adjacent to the land. So the entire game, you are strategically growing and placing your presence so that when you hit this innate threshold, you basically get to decimate all of the invaders, and you probably will pull out the win. It's a very satisfying end game win condition. I will say that I play this game mostly at 2 players, but I have also very much enjoyed Serpent True Solo. It's a little bit of a different style of play, but I do like him a little bit more multiplayer. But he's a ton of fun. Let's move on to number 4. We have Wounded Waters Bleeding, which comes to us from the Nature Incarnate expansion. Wounded Waters is another fairly unique spirit because they start off wounded, where you have to start the game by destroying presence or forgetting power cards every single turn until you're able to heal and remove that ability? Not really ability, but the detriment. Whenever you grow, you're going to be claiming these healing markers based off of the cards that you play, and then you have set aside healing cards at the beginning of the game. There are 4 of them that you can claim whenever you meet a certain threshold that is printed on that card. It's kind of complex. It took me a good number of games to actually like figure this spirit out because they play pretty differently than everyone else. But based on the cards you play, you're going to claim different markers, and that's going to determine which cards you can grab. There are 2 initial level cards which you can claim after you get 3 markers, and then there are 2 cards that you can claim after you get 5 markers. So pretty much turn 3 and turn 5. You can grab up to 2 cards. These cards interact with the game differently, and you can strategically choose which cards you play to get the markers you need to customize the spirit to the game that you are currently playing. It can be very strategic or very tactical depending on how the gameplay is playing out. You can go all in on Dahan manipulation or choose the path that will allow you to manipulate a ton of beast, or you can actually split because these are kind of 2 tiers. There's the blue and the red cards. You can go blue first, red second, vice versa. You can go all blue, which is mainly the Dahan. You can go all red, which is manipulating beast. And the tactical decisions that you can make to build this spirit to combat different adversaries it just creates some really fun in-game decisions that is going to shape the spirit to be something completely different every single time you play. Moving on to number 3, I told you we are going to talk about Beast, and this is where I kind of realized that I think Beast may be one of my favorite mechanics to manipulate in the game. This is Minimind's move as 1. This Jagged Earth spirit has a really fun rule that your sacred sites can also be counted as Beast. So along with the influx of more Beast on the board, we get some really cool abilities to move and use them as triggers for defense, fear, and just straight up canceling invader actions. And I play Spirit Island without events, and so this probably does modify this list pretty heavily. So there is a modification where you can play where you remove the events from the game and it adds a couple rules, and the main change here is it adds 2 Command Beast special actions which you get when you move into stage 2 and then stage 3. This is a fast power which you can use to trigger every single beast on the board, can either do a damage, a fear, or you can move them. And I really like to play mini minds focusing around these 2 Command Beast actions. So use Ever Multiplying Storm to flood the island with beast, then Teeming Host arrives to place those beasts in the most strategic positions, and then use the Commanding Beast action to just carry out your bidding. And I very much enjoy big turns, and mini minds as a spirit that is a fun time setting those up. Awesome. Number 2 on my list still has a little bit of beast interaction, and that is Breath of Darkness Down Your Spine. This is another unique spirit, which I guess like most of the spirits in the game are unique, but this one is very unique because they come with their own like off-island board. They called the Endless Dark. And their playstyle focuses around causing fear, and they will do so by abducting invaders and moving them and trapping them in the Endless Dark, this special land that they have. They do this whenever they destroy the only invader in the land. So like if there's an explorer or town out there and you destroy it, you then abduct it instead. Or once your Incarnate is empowered, and Incarnate is like a special presence that the new Nature Incarnate expansion added, whenever that's empowered, you can just abduct an invader every single fast phase. And this can be great for preventing builds or lowering the damage that's going to be caused during the Ravage action. And it pays off during the slow phase because you can cause fear based on how many invaders are stuck in the Endless Dark with the Lost in the Endless Dark innate power. And then you get to downgrade those trapped invaders. My favorite decision that Breath forces me to make is actually during the growth phase, because based on which option you choose, pieces are going to escape from your special land. They're going to escape to lands with your presence, but the important thing to note here is that it's a number of pieces that escape. So if you have made beast, which are hanging out in the Endless Dark, or you have stolen presence from spirit with your reach from the Infinite Darkness power card, those can be the pieces that escape, and you get to keep the invaders trapped for more fear generation and then downgrade them again. I love fear, and it's a great transition to my favorite spirit in the entire game, which is, you can probably guess, an aspect spirit, because we haven't talked about it at all yet, and you are correct, Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares with the violence aspect. Bringer is a core game spirit, and the violence aspect comes to us in the Nature Incarnate box. Violence doesn't change the playstyle too much of Bringer, but it does make things very intense. Because Bringer's whole shtick is that they cannot destroy invaders, but instead they cause extra fear when they would destroy those invaders. So if you would normally destroy a town, the town is removed from the island and you get to cause 1 fear. Bringer has a special rule that instead you push the town and you cause an extra fear for a total of 2 fear. Violence is the aspect that increases the amount of fear generated to 1, 3, 5 fear for destroying an explorer, town, or city. I do love fear, and this accelerates so quickly, especially at those lower player counts, where if you're playing true solo, 5 fear is a fear card and 25% of the way to another fear card. It's very, very efficient, and as long as you don't die, like, because it's kind of going to be a race, you can get a lot of fear. But there's more. The bottom track with the violent aspect now actually grants twice as many card plays, as long as the extra card play has deal or damage effects on it, or damage or destroy effects on it. So you can pretty much go full top row, you can get a ton of money income, and then play a ton of minor cards that have those damage effects, or go for those epic majors and find like the talons of lightning and do fear and damage and then destroy the cities, but don't destroy the cities and instead cause 5 more fear. This spirit very much feels like you're racing against the invaders to see if you can scare them off faster than they can destroy your precious island. So those are my top 5 spirits in the game. What are your favorite spirits to play? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, we'll see you around. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.